For weeks, the scientific world held its breath, waiting, watching, and wondering when China would finally release the data. While NASA, ESA, and every major Western observatory struggled with the blinding geometry of the sun and dust scattering across Earth's atmosphere, one spacecraft had the perfect vantage point. One machine stood above the noise, above the uncertainty, and above the excuses, orbiting Mars in complete silence with instruments built for clarity rather than politics. That machine was Tianwen-1. Tonight, the silence has finally been broken. China has released the first confirmed images of the interstellar object 3I Atlas captured from Mars orbit during the very period when every telescope on Earth was effectively blind. These images, combined with Tianwen-1's ultraviolet and dust monitoring instruments, reveal a side of 3I Atlas that no one expected to see. It is a side that contradicts every prediction, challenges every comet model, and deepens the mystery surrounding the most unpredictable visitor our solar system has ever encountered. These new images do more than simply fill a gap in the observations. They expose it. They show an object behaving in ways that are not only unexpected but seemingly impossible. Now, with China's release, the world must confront a disturbing possibility. 3I Atlas may not be what we believed it to be, and the first clear witness to its behavior was not on Earth, but orbiting Mars. This is the story of the Martian images that could force humanity to rethink everything it thought it understood about interstellar visitors. The document begins with its most important detail, geometry. At the exact moment Earth-based observatories lost sight of 3I Atlas, Tianwen-1 occupied a perfectly aligned orbital position that provided a clear, unobstructed view across interplanetary space. There was no sunlight interference, no atmospheric scattering, and no horizon blocking the view, only a silent vantage point high above the Martian sky. While NASA's telescopes were blinded by the object proximity to the Sun and ESA's observatories were forced to suspend direct tracking, China's spacecraft continued its observations without interruption. Tianwen-1's high-altitude orbit allowed it to monitor 3I Atlas throughout the critical period leading up to perihelion, the stage when comets typically reveal their true nature through fragmentation, changes in tail structure, energy output, and sublimation patterns. But what Tianwen-1 recorded was nothing like the violent breakup expected by Western models. It did not witness the chaotic fragmentation predicted by thermal stress. Instead, it observed an object that remained structured, stable, bright, and even accelerating. As the document repeatedly emphasizes, while Western telescopes saw nothing, Tianwen-1 saw everything. The entire mystery of 3I Atlas revolves around that single fact. The first released image from Tianwen-1 may not appear dramatic at first glance. It shows only a faint point surrounded by a slightly elongated envelope. Yet for scientists who understand what they are seeing, the image is extraordinary. It reveals a massive dust coma that is not dispersing or thinning as expected, but instead becoming denser, more stable, and forming a remarkably symmetrical cloud around the object. Analysis across every visible wavelength from the Mars orbiter confirmed the same conclusion. The object possessed a dense cometary coma, a sunward-facing jet structure, a dust tail already measurable from Mars orbit, and a brightness far greater than predicted. But the greatest surprise came from the coma itself. Its brightness fluctuated in a regular, repeating rhythm, not randomly or chaotically, but according to a clear pattern. And when it comes to interstellar objects, patterns are never ignored. Tianwen-1's ultraviolet sensors detected spikes in ultraviolet reflectivity that matched rotational models almost perfectly. However, the amplitude of those variations was far too high for an object with such a small native nucleus. Something was either rotating much faster than expected or reacting more rapidly than known physics should allow. This was not the behavior of a quiet comet. It appeared to be an active engine of energy, and at that critical moment, China possessed the only spacecraft with a camera continuously watching it. As 3I Atlas moved closer to the Sun, ground-based observatories across Europe became completely blind. The solar elongation angle made direct imaging impossible. From Earth's perspective, the object was hidden in the Sun's overwhelming glare. Any attempt to observe it was drowned out by sunlight. But from its orbit around Mars, Tianwen-1 occupied the one position that completely avoided the solar obstruction. The document highlights this fact with a chilling phrase: Mars was the only eye left open. With nearly every other observatory offline, Tianwen-1 documented the development of new jet structures in real time. It recorded the continued growth of the comet's dust tail and the formation of the antitail, a remarkable plume stretching millions of kilometers through space. According to the observations, the antitail expanded much faster than early models had predicted. This was not ordinary outgassing. Instead of chaotic sprays of dust, the material appeared to be released in organized, coherent streams. The authors of the document make a striking observation. If a comet behaves like this near the Sun, fragmentation must follow. Yet fragmentation never occurred. The nucleus remained intact throughout the entire observation period. This, they argue, was the moment when Earth lost control of the narrative and Mars became the only true witness to the event. Photometric measurements from Tianwen-1 revealed another apparent impossibility. The object's brightness increased by approximately 0.3 magnitudes without any visible structural breakup, despite being in a phase where classical comet models predict fragmentation to be unavoidable. Nevertheless, the nucleus remained coherent, and the surrounding coma stayed remarkably consistent. This paradox appears repeatedly throughout the document and forms one of its central conclusions. 3 Io Atlas continued behaving in ways that conventional comet physics simply cannot explain.